So here, if you look at it, it just tells you clearly active tells you how to has written kataba and gives example. Kataba means he wrote. Kataba kitaban, he wrote a letter. Then it tells you passive and how to passive and has written and what's the meaning. Kutiba, so it was written. Kutiba kitabun, a letter was written. So we dedicated a whole lesson to it. So if you go back, you will even in perfect as well. So the what you read at the end, we dedicated a whole chapter to that as well. So you need to go back and review this lesson. Either you could read a few times or watch the video, and then because the same principle applies to what we're doing now, that should be helpful. We need to do that. So today's lesson, okay, and form 3. Okay, who wants to read form? Okay, so Sudais, you want to read the form 3, spell Madi, Maruf, active, spell Madi.
Like Madi of the same kasara?
No, third form.
Third form of which word you want to read? Like same kasara word or any other you want to?
Qatala.
It's like ana qataltu and so the third form has alif between the second and the third radical, first two radicals. So katala or something. Have to do the conjugation of the third form.
Farhana, you want to try?
Okay, sir. Ana qataltu, nahnu qatalna, anta qatalta, antuma qataltuma, antum qataltum, anti qatalti, antuma qataltuma, antunna qataltunna. Huwa qatalu, huma qatala, hum qatalu, hiya qatalat, huma qatalta, hunna qatalna.
Okay, that's good. You want to do the passive for the past tense as well?
Passive for qatala,
Yes.
past tense.
Yes.
Kutibtu, ana yeah.
This is like this. Kotip2, yes. Kotip2. Carry on.
Kutibtu, nahnu kutibna, anta kutibta, antuma kutibtuma, antum kutibtum, anti kutibta, antuma kutibtuma,
Anti.
anti kutibti,
Yes.
antuma kutibtuma, antunna kutibtunna. Huwa kutiba, huma kutiba, hum kutibu. Hiya kutibat, huma kutibta, hunna kutibna.
Hiya kutibat, huma kutibata, na kutibta,
Kutibata.
Okay, so do you wanna try this active form? I'll give you a clue. This is the way it works. Ana not like this. Where's it gone? Ana ukatibu. That's how you start. Nahnu nukatibu. Do you want to do it?
Let me try.
If you haven't practiced, yeah,
no,
okay, go on.
I haven't practiced. I can try. Ana ukatibu, nahnu nukatibu, أنت تكاتب أنتما تكاتبا أنتم
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to try for Hannah?
Yes, sir. Ana ukatibu, nahnu nukatibu, anta tukatibu, antuma tukatibani, antum tukatibuna, anti tukatibina, antuma tukatibani, antunna tukatibna. Huwa yukatibu, huma yukatibani, hum yukatibuna, hiya tukatibu, huma tukatibani, hunna yukatibna.
That's good. Also, you want to try the passive for the mudari?
Yes, sir.
Majhul, you want to try majhul for this? Majhul
Majhul.
for mudari for the imperfect.
Like أنا أكاتب.
No, she just read on our katibu.
Okay, sir. Ana ukatabu, nahnu nukatabu, anta tukatabu, antuma tukatabani.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's good. So that's correct. Just fi'l amr. That was correct. That's why I've just stopped you because the others should be okay as well. Sudais, you wanna try to make fi'l amr for the form 2?
Yes, sir. With the verb. Which one? Which verb?
You just use kasara, you kasiru.
Okay. Anta kasara. Kasar. Sorry, there should be a sukun in the end. Anta kasar. Antuma kasara.
Farhana, you wanna try?
Anta kasir,
Yes.
antuma kasira, antum kasiru, anti kasiri, antuma kasira, antunna kasirna.
Okay. Okay, you wanna? That's fine. So fi'l amr of third form. Can you do that, Farhana?
Anta qatal, antuma qatala.
No. Qatil. Kasra.
Okay, sir, qatil.
Qatila. Because you take the fi'l mudari and then you form it from the qatil, qatila. Okay, that's fine. Just anybody remember the verbal nouns? Sudais, you remember the verbal nouns for these two?
So the verb is
Masdar.
the verbal noun to be on the scale of taf'ilun.
Yes, that's for which form?
That is for the second form.
Okay.
It should be on the scale of taf'ilun.
Yes, and for the third form?
Sorry, sir, I did not do the first one correctly. So
Rana, do you know the third form? Is the verbal noun?
Yes, a verbal noun for qatala is kitabun. No, sorry, it's on the pattern of fi'alun or mufalatun. Mufalatun.
Mufa'alatun. Yes, mukatabatun or fi'alun, which is kitabun. Okay. Mukatabatun or kitabun. That's fine. Sudais, why haven't you revised?
so there are lots of reasons. I'll just SMS you later.
Sorry?
I'll SMS you for personal reasons.
Okay. that's meaning patterns. I'm gonna just quickly the second form we said, and it's all in the book. Well, first thing, there was like 3 or 4 rather, and the first one was says that it makes any intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are any verbs which don't require an object. It makes them as such that they become transitive, which means they require a subject. So qaruba is to be near, so you don't need any object for that. So you just say qarabtu, I was near, for example. You don't need any object. And then if when you put it on the scale of qarraba, which is the second form, it makes it causative or transitive. So it becomes to make near, bring somebody or something near. So qarabtu al-qalama, I bought the pen near. So the pen becomes the object. So it becomes something which needs object. And it's causative in the sense that, you know, I became the source of making it near. And so then we said if it's transitive verbs already, then it could make it causative or double transitive. So alima is to know, which is a transitive verb. It makes it doubly transitive or causative. Allama, to teach. So allama is the cause of learning, cause of somebody knowing, number 1. And number 2 is allamtu Zaydan al-kitaba. I taught Zayd the book. It's having 2 objects. So I'm not going to repeat that again. So quickly, and also we said it can strengthen the meaning or make the act more final. Like kasara means to break, kasara means to smash or break into pieces. And the fourth one was estimated meaning. So saddaqa means to consider sincere, which we normally express when we say to believe. Kadaba means to lie, kazzaba to consider a liar, accused of lying. So then with the third form, we said it normally expresses the verb with a relationship or application of an act to another person. So kataba means just to write, kataba means to write to. So kataba kitaban, he wrote a book. You don't need to write, it's not related to anybody else. But if you want to write kataba, it becomes a relation to somebody else. Jalasa, to sit. Jalasa, to sit with. So it becomes a relationship with another person. And so forth. And it says, we also said that sometimes it's expresses a meaning of attempting to do something. So qatala means to kill. Qatala means to try to kill in a way. So effectively, when you try to kill, you're fighting somebody. So the meaning comes to fight against. Sabaqa means to proceed. Sabaqa, to try to proceed. So normally, when you try to proceed, like you could get ahead. Normally, it means to compete with or race against. And then next one is today's lesson is form 4, af'ala. Okay, and I think it gives you the scale here. This is perfect, so this is fi'l madi, and this is active form fi'l madi. So the key feature of this verb is that it has an additional alif. It has an additional letter at the start. It has an additional alif. Okay, so and then the first radical gets a sukun in the fi'l mad. So af'ala. So passive is going to be ajlastu. Ana ajlastu. Nahnu ajlasna. Yes, nahnu ajlasna. And then anta ajlasta. Antuma ajlastuma. Antum ajlastum. Anti Do I need to write everything down, or you understand? I think it's. Let me know. Do you want me to write it down, or you think you're okay with it? Anti ajlasti, antuma ajlastuma, antum ajlastum. Is this okay, or shall I write it down?
No, sir, it's okay.
You okay with it, Farhana? Is that who is that? I'm not sure. Days, you okay with it?
So the prefixes like ana, anta, that I can figure out.
Yeah. And this is here ajlasat, huwa ajlasa. So it's same. You know, if you look at this, the good thing about Arabic is that it's just gonna be same thing. You know what we've done with previous forms. We just need to learn the difference. So here the difference is that we had additional alif. Alif, which is now a root letter, additional alif, we prefix e, and then the first letter becomes un. And if you make it past tense, if you make it majhul, past tense, it's gonna be ana ujlistu. Okay, so it's gonna be ana. It's gonna be similar. So in past tense, we already learned that when it's majhul, the first letter gets a dhamma, like here, and the second radical normally gets a kasra. So it's similar. Ana ujlistu, nahnu ujlisna, ujlisna, anta ujlista, antuma ujlistuma, antum ujlistum, and so forth. And it gives you passive here. So passive, perfect. So we did past tense, majhul. Then this is imperfect. So this is mudari. The first one is mudari without any adjustments. So it's going to be ana ujlisu. So if you notice here, again, there's additional alif. But similar to the kastara, yu kastiru, the first radical, not first radical, rather, it's the first letter, which is alif here, additional alif, will get a dhamma. And then the second radical will get, the first root letter gets a sukoon, and the second root letter gets a kasra. Ujlisu. Ana ujlisu. Nahnu. Not very good. Okay, I know why. I'm using the pen, I'm using the mouse. Okay. Nahnu nujlisu. Anta tujlisu. Antuma tujlisani. Antum tujlisuna. Again, same pattern. Nothing complicated about that. But when I say the same pattern, it's you have to repeat it many times for you to get used to it. Because the idea is that when this comes up, you don't have to think too much. You know straight away which one it is, because then it will make it easier for you to distinguish between different verbs and so on. Anta tujlisani, antuma tujlisuna, anti tujlisani, and so forth. Huwa yujlisu, and so forth. And when it's subjunctive, which mansub, like when you have lan next to it, or an, like we've done before, it becomes yujlisu, becomes yujlisa, tujlisa, tujlisa. The noon drops basically. It is anti, tujlisi, and so forth, right? And when Yusuf, which is majzoom, when it loses the lam, ana lam ajlis, nahnu lam nujlis, anta lam tujlis. Does that make sense? And if there's noon, obviously noon drops because when it's majzoom, the noon drops. Does that make sense, Sudais?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to focus.
And then what you say, imperative is fa'il amr, command. So it becomes anta ajlis. So normally we said the first we normally say the first yeah, we normally said we normally drop the first letter, then to make fail amr, but here we not. So you may ask why. So it's because even though the imperfect is yujlisu, tujlisu, ujlisu, yujlisu, originally it was yuajlisu, because normally that's how it was originally, because there's alif was there, because there's additional alif here in the past. Sorry, in the madi, in the mudari, originally before the Arabs changed it, before it got changed, you could imagine of it having alif, because it had alif in past, so it would have alif in the mudari, in the imperfect, and the only thing that change is the ya, ta, prefixes at the front. So it was usually yuajlisu and so forth, and then for fi'l amr or imperative or command, the rule is that we drop the first lamatul mudare, the sign of mudare. So it comes, Hamza already has a fatha, so it becomes ajlis. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, please tell me now, like you don't feel shy.
Yes, sir.
Or does it make sense?
Sir, can you revise it? Just this bit.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So what we're saying is, so here when we say fi'l mudare, ana, why is it ana? Ujlisu, right?
Yeah.
Nahnu
Ujlisu.
nujlisu. Nujlisu. Anta
Ujlisu.
tujlisu. Now, the question is that when we make mudare, the only thing, the main thing we do different to the madi is that we add, a sign of mudare, which is alif for me, ya for he, yani ujlisu, yujlisu, tujlisu, and so forth. We don't change what's already in Madi. So what we're saying is originally this ana ujlisu, right, was, oh sorry, let's forget ujlisu because that's not ana tujlisu, right, because this is the one we're going to make to madare, was originally anta
Ajlisu.
tu ajlisu, because there was hamza in the past tense, the additional alif. So original alif was in the mudare as well. It was anta tu ajlisu. However, because the way the language works, the Arabs eliminated the alif. However, when you make the fi'l amr, when you make the imperative, when you make the command, we take this. We don't take anta tujlisu. We don't take that, and then drop the ta. We just say how was he originally? Originally, it was anta to ajlisu. Then we dropped the first alamatul mudare or sign of mudare, and then we don't need to change anything else because the first letter already has a fatha or a haraka, so it becomes ajlis. Does that make sense? Anta ajlis, you sit.
Yes, yes, sir.
Not you sit. You make others sit. You seat people. That's what it means. What's today's?
So this means to make people sit. Anta.
Yeah, look, yeah, ajlasa to seat people. So you know when it is a function and you give somebody responsibility to seat people.
And to say like to sit is like anta ajlis. That would be anta ajlis.
Anta ajl,
If I command someone to sit, what would be the difference? Like
okay,
seating.
so you tell me if you apply the rules of what we
Anta.
learned.
So that would be ijlis. Like there should be
Yes,
a
ijlis,
kasra,
yes,
ijlis.
yes.
And over here to make them seat is like a fatha on the first radical. Like
No, it wouldn't be even. So the rule was I believe jalasa yajlusu. So it'll be ujlus because we said if the because normally it's anta. No, jalasa sorry, it's yajlisu. Yeah, you're right. Ijlis, yes. I think it may be. Yeah, 1 second. So yeah, it's jalasa yajlisu, like you said. So it's going to be anta ijlis, like you said. And you understand how, yes? If you tell somebody to sit, anta ijlis, like you said. So now the meaning pattern of this form. This is called form 4. Okay? It says number 1. The fourth form is causative. It makes intransitive verb, intransitive and transitive verbs double transitive. So this is very similar to form 2. Form 2 we say the same thing. So hadara means to present, right? So hadara Zaidun al-ijtima'a. The Zaid was present at the meeting. So there's one object. Then and then ahdara, if you put it on this scale, becomes to cause to be present. So it becomes causative, right? You are bringing people to present, and it may require 2 objects. So when you say to be to cause to be present, we normally say bring, right? Not just people, other things as well. So jalasa to sit, ajlasa to seat, to make people sit, right? Here, often forms 2 and 4, like I mentioned, have the same meaning with perhaps a slight difference. Okay, examples: khabbara and akhbara both mean to inform, give news. It's the same meaning, right? Sallaha to repair, aslaha to rectify, reform. Very similar. Okay, repair to rectify, reform. Very similar. Allama to teach, a'lama to inform. Very similar in meaning, right? So it says as a double transitive verb, a form 4 verb may have 2 direct objects in the accusative. So